Hey there, sweet soul. Welcome back to my very own slice of the internet. How are you? You know I want to know how you are, so tell me how you're doing in the comments. I'm sorry if you can hear my neighbors, whatever they're doing, their music, whatever. I can't do anything about it. So, March is over, April has begun. You know what time it is. It's time for our March wrap. Well, technically, I only read 8 books this month, but I'm going to include one that I didn't technically finish until April. It's not that big of a deal yet. Yes, 9 books, technically 8, but we're going with 9. Again, I will highlight my favorite and my least favorite at the end of the video. Really, you know how this works, so let's just get into it. First book I finished this month was The 3 Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth by Dolores. This is a nonfiction book and is metaphysical in nature. Dolores was a hypnotist, and in her books, what she does is she reports discoveries she's made during her sessions with her clients. Discoveries about the universe, other dimensional beings, and the future of Earth. This book, any of Dolores's work, is not for everyone, but it aligns with my current view of the universe, and therefore, for me, it was very informative and enlightening. If you're not a hippy-dippy spiritualist like I am, I don't think that you would find this book very interesting, but if you are, you will. Just don't read it all at the same time. You need time to digest what you're reading and to really think about what you're reading. Savor it. Soak it up. Don't rush through it. That's really all I have to say about that. The girls who get it, get it. And the girls who don't, don't. If you know, you know. The second book I finished in March was Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. As the title might suggest, this book is about Delilah Green. And Delilah Green is, well, she's kind of a fuckboy. At least that's what it seems like. She doesn't do more than one-night stands. She doesn't really have any friends or any deep connections with anyone. And above all else, she doesn't like her hometown, Bright Falls. However, Delilah's estranged stepsister is planning a wedding. And her stepsister wants her there as the photographer because Delilah is a professional photographer. And normally there would be no way that her stepmother and her stepsister would have been able to talk her into this, but they put on this guilt trip, added a 5-figure check, and Delilah's all in because she's living in New York, and we all know New York is expensive. She's the starving artist type. She needs the money. So she heads back to her hometown, and the first night she's in town, she runs into one of her stepsister's very best friends. Now, her stepsister and her friends weren't very kind to Delilah when they were growing up, but nevertheless, Delilah had a crush on one of them, and her name is Claire. Claire doesn't realize who Delilah is. They start talking. There's a little flirtation going on. Delilah knows that Claire is at least physically attracted to her, but then Astrid, the stepsister, comes. They figure it out. From there, through all of the wedding events that Delilah has to go to and photograph, Claire and Delilah start to really connect. And they both figure out that maybe they don't know each other as much as they thought they did. Because while they've known each other all of this time, they didn't really know each other. And this book chronicles the shenanigans that Delilah, Claire, Astrid, and their other friend Iris go through while Delilah is in town and they're preparing for this wedding. I rated this book a 3 out of 5. The beginning was really, really, really slow for me. When I read a romance book, I need the romance to be happening quick, fast, and in a hurry. Otherwise, I lose interest pretty fast. And the romance was not happening quick, fast, and in a hurry. I think the first saucy scene was halfway through the book, and what's a romance novel without the spicy scenes? So yeah, it started off really slow for me. but I thought that it was very cute, and by the end of it, I was glad to have read it. For me, this book wasn't bad, but it wasn't very memorable. It's pretty average. Some things that I really enjoyed about it were the complex family dynamic between Delilah, her sister Astrid, and the stepmother. And I like that Delilah kind of found family where she wasn't expecting to find family, especially with the weird dynamic she has going on with her stepsister and stepmother. Overall, I'm not mad that I read it, I just thought it was fine. While I was reading Delilah Green Doesn't Care, I was simultaneously reading Pillow Thoughts by Courtney Peppernell. Again, this book was pretty average for me. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, same as the last book. So this book is a collection of poetry divided into sections so that you can take what you need when you need it. And some of those sections include if you're dreaming of someone, if you are sad, if you are missing someone, if you need a reason to stay. Those are just some of them. I just wanted to give an example. Now, I have tabbed some things. You can't see the tabs. I have tapped some things because there were some things that I related to in some of the sections, particularly the if you are dreaming of someone section and the if you are in love section. I thought that some of those poems were really good. However, in general, the book wasn't very memorable. Poems didn't hit me. Most of them were kind of bland and pretty average. There are sections that I like better than others, but for the most part, it's just a pretty average book for me. I also read a couple of books by Thich Nhat Hanh this month. We've got Anger, Wisdom for Cooling the Flames, and we've got The Miracle of Mindfulness. I won't say too much about these because I have a whole vlog dedicated to just these 2 books, and I feel like I explained myself pretty well in those, so I don't want to repeat myself. So if you want to, you can go back and watch that. But I will say that I found both of these very helpful. I think they will both be a very useful tool to reference and look back on while I'm going through this whole healing journey. The next book I didn't technically finish in March, but I started it at the end of March and finished it very soon after, on like the 3rd or 2nd, and so I'm putting it in here anyway. That book is the only graphic novel I read this month, surprisingly, which is What If We Were by Axelle Lenoir. What If We Were is a very cute graphic novel about 2 best friends with very different personalities who play this game called What If We Were. So basically, you know how sometimes, like, you might ask your partner or your best friend if your mom or your mom, what if I was a worm? Would you still love me? That's basically the concept of the game they play, only they give these big, elaborate explanations that are somewhat carefully thought out. And what if we were scenarios are usually a little, they leave more room for creativity than what if I was a worm. So in the book, it basically follows them on their daily lives while they're playing this game. And as you go, you learn that one of the characters, Natalie, has a crush on another girl named Jane Doe. And in the book, Natalie has to like work up the courage to ask Jane Doe out. Her best friend, the other main character in the book, Marie, is very supportive of her. It turns out that her feelings about the situation aren't exactly what she expected them to be. I thought this was cute. I loved the friendship between Marie and Natalie. I love the 2 main characters' humor. The art style was really visually appealing, but again, like a lot of other books I read this month, it wasn't. I liked it. I did like it, and it reminded me in some parts of me and my partner. I know that you guys are probably tired of hearing me say that, but it's true. Some parts of it reminded me of me and my partner, so I related to it a little bit. Overall, I liked it. There wasn't anything not to like about it. I actually am quite looking forward to more novels in this series being published because I need to know how their friendship evolves. I need to know how the friendship evolves. And what's going to happen with Jane Doe? I need to know. Your girl needs to know. But it's not my new favorite or anything. Now we're down to business. My least favorite book this month. It's very disappointing for me because I really wanted to love this book. The book is Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. I read this in a reading vlog where I let my tarot cards pick my books. The card I pulled for this was the Magician, and it's magical, so we had to go with it. This book is about a preteen named Sunny Nuezu. Sunny is West African by heritage, but she was born and grew up in New York until she and her family moved back to Nigeria when she was 9. But there's something a little different about Sunny. Sunny is albino, so she has East African features, but her skin is white, and she's just a big walking conundrum. She's really good at soccer, but she can't be out in the sun. She has West African features, but she's white because she was born in America and is living in Nigeria. She really can't seem to find a place where she fits in until she makes friends with a boy in her class named Orlu, his next door neighbor, Chi Chi. Through her friendship with Orlu and Chi Chi, Sunny discovers she's a free agent, which basically means she has magical powers, but she didn't inherit it from either of her parents. And compared to her friends, she has a lot of catching up to do. Just as they're getting started on their learning journey, they are confronted with this serial killer who is killing children. So basically, Sunny becomes part of this quartet with Orlu, Chi-Chi, and another magical student from America. And they are tasked by the magical authorities to find this guy and stop him. The thing is, he has magic too. And so the question is, will what they've learned so far be enough to be able to stop someone who's more learned and more powerful than they are? By all rights, I should have loved this book. The concept was A1, right up my alley, but there were too many things I didn't like about it. For one, I was bored through the entire book. I did not really relate to the characters, and I just didn't really care. I didn't care about any of them. It didn't give me any feels. The world building was cool. I liked the world building and the magic system. I think that was quite cool, but I was just so bored. And even the ending was a little anticlimactic for me. So that was my least favorite book this month, unfortunately. Moving on. The best of the best books I read this month are actually a duology by Becky Chambers. They are classified as cozy sci-fi, which I think is exactly spot on. And they are A Psalm for the Wild Built and A Prayer for the Crown Shy. In A Psalm for the Well Built, we are introduced to sibling Dex. Sibling Dex lives on a moon called Panga. Society on this planet is very advanced. They're very environmentally cautious and conscious, which came about because many hundreds of years earlier, there was what they called the transition, where they were in this period where it was all about industry, and there were robots. The robots gained consciousness and fucked off to the wilderness. And so they live a little bit more consciously than they did before. Now, Dex becomes a tea monk. And a tea monk is basically someone who travels around to the different settlements and offers this service where they listen to people's problems or whatever they want to talk about. They give them tea to help with whatever they have going on. Like if they need energy, they'll give them tea that will give them energy. And they offer them a place to sit and relax and be with themselves for a minute. Dex changes their whole life in order to become a tea monk because they had been living differently before. They learn how to become a tea monk. They're doing it. They're doing great. They're really known for what they do. They're really good at it. But unfortunately, Dex still isn't happy. So Dex decides that they're going to make a trip to the wilderness to a hermitage. As soon as Dex makes it out of town, really deciding what they're going to do, they meet Moscap. Moscap is a robot who was sent on a mission by the other robots to figure out what humanity needs. Because the robots and the humans haven't been in contact since the transition. So for the first time in thousands of years, a human and a robot make contact. In the first book, we follow Dex and Moscap on their journey to the hermitage. We watch their friendship grow as they learn about each other and themselves and their place in the world. I absolutely loved everything about the first book. And so in my tarot picks my books blog, I got the card The World. And the world is all about world travel, if taken literally. So I thought a prayer for the ground shy would be perfect for that prompt. And I was jazzed to read it after just having read a psalm for the wild bill. In A Prayer for the Crown Shy, we follow Dex and Moscap as they travel through the settlements, trying to get the answer to Moscap's question, what does humanity need? Of course, it's a big deal that Moscap is there because the humans haven't had a contact with robots. We follow them as they travel and are celebrated, and they try to figure this out. I think these books are properly labeled as cozy sci-fi because that's exactly what it is. It's exactly like cozy fantasy, only make it a little robotic, futuristic, sci-fi-ish. I really adored both of these books. I like Moscap and Dex as characters. It was cool to watch this robot learn and interact with this whole society he had never interacted with before and didn't know very much about. It was fun watching them discover and learn all about what life as a human was actually like. Dex is a very relatable character. They, I think, are really just searching for answers that a lot of us are searching for. I love the way both books were written. I love the complexity of the ideas in the book and the way it makes the books and the way that they both make you think. And I just think that they are both very wholesome and very fun, and I cannot praise them enough. And that's about it for me, humans and extraterrestrials. I hope you enjoyed this wrap up. I hope you're doing well. Comment down below. Let me know how you're doing. I'll say it again and again until somebody does it. I see people are watching my videos, but nobody's commenting anything. Comment. I want to know how you are. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, don't. That's okay too. If you would like to follow along on my journey, you're welcome to subscribe and stick around and see how things are going for me. With that, I will see you guys in the next one. So, as the title might suggest, I'm sorry, it's so noisy outside. I am so sorry.